Are you working on the game and struggling to find the motivation for you to continue? Then you've come to the right place. Here, I'm gonna tell you a secret that is gonna change everything. But not only that, I'll also give you a lot of tips and you'll discover what exactly influences your motivation and why are you losing it in the project. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Adrian and welcome to Redefine Gamedev. This channel is focused on amplifying your game's potential. The topic of today is motivation and how you can get motivated during the work on your project. I have started many projects and I have abandoned almost all of them. So it's a no-brainer that one of the biggest enemies of the game developer is motivation. Let's see how we can tackle it step by step. When you start a new game, ideas flow. You form a new team, you are hyped, your enthusiasm levels are way above average. But as you start working on a game, some people from your team might leave, or you might get burned, or you might just lose motivation and the project gets abandoned. This is the story of many game developers, and this is why so few of us succeed in creating something. As I see it, there are two main factors that influence motivation. The first one is, of course, the external one. And then the second is the internal one. And we'll go into each one of them and figure out what we can do to fix them or at least mitigate the problems that they cause. So stick with me. The external factors are all the stuff that's around you. It might be the weather. How many times have you blamed the bad weather for not having productivity? What about not having sunlight or any other weather aspect? But the most important external factor are other people. And without you realizing it, other people might influence your motivation. Here we can have different categories of people: friends and family, team members, and complete strangers. So let's tackle each one of them and see what they can do to actually erode your motivation. So let's start with friends and family. So you have a nice game idea, you have started working on something, and you start telling your friends and your family about your game. And sometimes this doesn't go well, because people that are not interested might say, well, you won't have success, get a real job. Some friends might actually envy you in secret and they might want you to fail. So by telling them, you'll have a disadvantage because they'll tell you, oh, of course it's not gonna work. Of course this has been done 100, 1,000 times and it didn't work, so of course for you it won't work. So this is a clear way to lose motivation, so try eliminating toxic people, or if they are your friends or family and you cannot eliminate them, of course just push them away or don't tell them your ideas. The team members might share the same goal of you, but in the process, they might themselves lose motivation and they might affect other people around them. And of course, the other people around them are you. So you should be careful with them. The most complex part is the internal motivation and why you are your worst enemy. Because it's easier to fight enemies that you can see than enemies that you don't see. And of course, you are your own enemy. And what I'm trying to say with that. So, let's take, for example, your enthusiasm at the start of the project is high, right? But as you move into the project and you realize that it's going to be a huge, huge project that you didn't know from the beginning, you'll have a hard time continuing and you might start procrastinating. You might start cleaning your room, cleaning your neighbor's room, cleaning your dog's room, and this can go forever. Or you can just simply get burned and quit the project entirely. So these are just a couple of factors that actually come from inside you. So how can you tackle them? So I'm going to give you 3 ones, the big ones. First is try to get a grasp on how big is your project and try to map it. You can use a paper or a document, it doesn't matter, but try to define what you want to achieve from your project. Once you have a clear understanding of what you want to reach, then divide it in tasks, in milestones, whatever works for you, and try to complete as many as possible. Hint here, don't make too big of tasks because they might seem impossible to finish. So try to divide them in smaller parts that might be done in 1 or 2 days or less if possible. And the second one is to understand that if you start a project, it's gonna be different than working at the company because you won't get instant gratification. And what does that mean? So instant gratification is when you do something and then you receive something out of it. For example, this is why a lot of people go to their jobs because they do something, and in the end, at the end of the month, they receive a salary, which is more or less assured. So if you start a project as a hobby or as a full-time game developer, you'll soon realize that you won't get any money, you won't get any views if you're posting it on social media, you won't get any likes, shares, etc. And the list can go on. So this is gonna erode your motivation a lot. So what you can do about this is first acknowledge that this is a problem and deal with it. But deal with it in a way that you will create your own gratifications. So for example, if you reach a certain milestone, go get a nice food at a restaurant, or get that trip you always wanted, or get that gadget, but be careful with your budget, of course. But try to find your inner motivation to gratify yourself. This will keep you pushing forward. Of course, some people find also gratification in finishing tasks one by one, but still, we are not robots. And the last tip is developing a proper mindset. And what I'm saying by this is that you actually need a mindset that is focused on finishing the project and knowing what you want to achieve. When you are working on your own stuff, nobody is going to tell you you have to do this or you have to do that. You have to find the motivation from within. So developing up here a proper mindset will help you navigate through the sea of uncertainty and see the end result. Try to visualize the end result so that you know clearly what you want out of your project. And now for the secret part. So what is the most important part? Even though you have to plan your project, you definitely have to keep a healthy mindset, and you need to understand that the instant gratification is not working. There is one thing that ties them all and even overshadows everything that you do. And it's a simple word that you use it every single day. And it's why. It's a simple question. Why do you want to do that? Why are you working on a project? To achieve something? Or it's the core engine that drives your entire existence. And let me give you an example here. How many people have wondered what is the purpose of our existence? Why? You see? It's that simple. So of course, define your why. So let's take, for example, why do you want to make a game? It is because game development makes you happy, or because you want to entertain other people, or you want to receive praise from other people because you did a good job and you don't get that praise in the company you're working for at the moment. So our whys might be different, but in order to succeed, everyone needs a why. In creating this, I've actually distilled a lot of information from other game YouTubers, from books, from articles, from Twitter. I actually posted a question for every game developer and some of them answered. And thanks for your feedback, and also my own personal experience. This is a summary of everything. I try to simplify it as much as possible to give you a proper understanding of how you can keep your motivation. If you like this kind of content and you want to amplify your game's potential, consider subscribing to this channel because I have a lot more videos coming up. I'm Adrian and I'm signing out.